On the rooftop of a 20-story building was a maid with short black hair, looking in the direction of a particular university. The university she was looking at was the same university Victor attended. Despite being several kilometers away, Kaguya could see the college as if it were very close. As she watched college, Kaguya began to think about what had happened in the past 2 days. Kaguya wouldn't lie to herself. She was a little surprised at Violet's new husband. At first, I thought he would run away when he saw my master's psychotic attitude, Kaguya commented to herself. After all, she knew Violet's personality well. Kaguya was a new vampire by vampire standards. She was only 210 years old. Since she became self-aware, she has always been trained to be the personal servant of the Snow Clan leader or heir. Kaguya is part of Clan Blank, a subsidiary family of Clan Snow. The two families have a blood bond that cannot be broken because Clan Blank's ancestor was one of the main members of Clan Snow, who fell in love with a Japanese noble vampire. That is a story that happened over 1,000 years in the past. It is because of this ancestor that Clan Blank has some Japanese characteristics. Kaguya herself is a perfect example. Kaguya did not inherit the Snow Clan's flames, but she did inherit Snow Clan's immunity to the sun, and because of that immunity, Kaguya had to serve Clan Snow. Normally, it shouldn't be like that. After all, Kaguya's ancestor was part of Clan Snow's main house, and he married a noble Japanese vampire who could control the shadows. But because of the untimely death of Kaguya's ancestor's wife, the descendants of the noble vampire were left without political support, and, because of that, they were demoted to a subsidiary family that exists only to serve the Snow Clan. What about Kaguya's ancestor? He didn't care. The moment he found out his wife died, he disappeared and left his children in the care of Clan Snow. For Kaguya, this was really a tedious story, a story from a second-rate movie. Because of a vampire's decision, an entire bloodline was doomed to live eternally serving a clan. Nice job. Huh? Kaguya thought aloud with a small smile on her face. Kaguya had always wanted to be the perfect maid since she was a little girl. In a way, she was just doing it to be praised. It was like a child who was trying to get the attention of her parents, but her efforts were never recognized. When Victor said, "Good job," for a moment, she remembered her childhood. Just for a moment, she felt happy. But it's not all flowers. Reality soon hit her when Violet called out to her. Kaguya exhibited a small disdainful smile. I think, in the end, the stalker found a good man. Maybe I should work a little harder." Kaguya had a secret of her own. At first, she didn't like Violet. Wrong. She didn't like the Snow Clan's heir. She didn't like to feel trapped by the duty that was placed on her from birth. She liked being a servant, but she didn't like to feel attached to someone. The perfect maid can freely choose the master she wants to serve. Unfortunately, I'm far from being the perfect maid. Kaguya spoke with a shrug as she made a bored gesture, as if she had no choices. But soon she assumes her blank expression. But as Lady Violet's personal maid, I can't let her make a mistake she'll regret in the future. After all, I can't be a perfect maid, but at least I am a hard-working one. She chuckled a little to herself, and soon she jumped in the opposite direction to the university that Victor studied. "You guys really went to buy." "I thought you were kidding," I said, surprised and a little disbelieving what I was seeing in front of me. I was looking at my mom and dad, who bought several boxes of fireworks. "Why do you have that dead fish face?" she asked me, and then she still doesn't give me time to answer anything. "Oh, you always have that look on your face. I'm sorry. Anyway, we have to celebrate. You have no idea how much I wanted a daughter-in-law so I could cuddle and cuddle." My mother spoke with a smug face. "Why are you treating my wife like she's your daughter?" I can't help but comment internally. Suddenly my mother ran towards the kitchen and started looking for someone. She looked like a child who acquired a new friend and wanted to play. When she saw Violet, who was looking into the kitchen like she was looking at her archenemy, she ignored Violet's expression and hugged her. Violet makes a surprised expression, but soon she smiles softly and turned to look at my mom. "Lady Anna, what are you doing?" "Wrong, wrong, wrong, wrong." She spoke the same word over and over while shaking her head. "You are my son's wife, so you must call me Mom." Violet looked shocked at my mother. Violet smiled a little with a grateful expression. But anyway, why were you looking at the kitchen like it was your archenemy? My mom asked curiously, and, as always, she was brutally honest. Violet's expression takes on several shades of red. She ducks her head in embarrassment and pouts. I was never good in the kitchen, and I wanted to make Victor something to eat. Mom and I looked at Violet in shock. Suddenly my mom starts hugging Violet tighter. Kaya, you are so beautiful, my God. My son hit jackpot. Violet's face is completely red and she looks to me for help, but I just shrug like it has nothing to do with me. She suddenly takes on an expression of someone who has been left to survive alone in the wild. Sorry, my wife, but I want you to be my sacrifice to my mother. And, looking at the small smile on Violet's face, I can see that she's not disliking my mom's attitude. She's just a woman who isn't honest with her feelings, although she's surprisingly honest when it comes to me. I decided. My mom suddenly stops hugging Violet and yells. Then she continues, I'm going to teach you how to cook. When I heard my mom's words, I couldn't help but wonder about the doubt I had when I heard Violet was bad at cooking. Can vampires eat regular food? Really? Violet asked with bright eyes. Of course. Let's go. Suddenly my mother pulls Violet by the arm and leads her into the kitchen. Soon the two women start talking. You found a good wife, my dad said as he was leaning against the wall with his arms crossed. I look at him and see him smiling at me with a satisfied face. I display a small smile. You're wrong, Dad. My dad looks at me confused. I didn't find her, she found me, I said. Women these days are more honest with their feelings. He spoke with a small smile. Then he crouches down and tries to pick up the boxes full of fireworks. Leave it to me, Dad, I said as I walked over and placed all the boxes piled on my shoulder. In total they bought 3 boxes the size of a normal microwave. My father, seeing me putting all the boxes on my shoulder, couldn't help but smile at me satisfied. Now you can work as a bricklayer. You used to be very weak. Oof, I felt like someone had stabbed my heart with a stake. I look at my dad and think, he's really going to ignore the changes in my body. Or maybe he doesn't care. Anyway, I appreciate that he's not asking anything. As I carried the boxes into the living room, I asked my father, by the way, what took you so long? After all, it's already turned into night. I seem to speak loud enough for my mom to hear because she stops talking to Violet and looks at me. We wanted to give you guys privacy. After all, you guys are supposed to be horny with each other, right, Mother? I looked at her in shock. Woman, control your mouth. I know this is normal. You two are young, etc. My mom spoke in a bored tone, like it was no big deal. Indeed, we enjoyed last night. Violet spoke with a smile on her face. She was saying that last night we sucked each other's blood, but that only increased the misunderstanding. My mom looks at Violet with shining eyes. Looks like I'm going to like you even more than I already do. I found a partner. Partner? Violet questions confused. Yes. Do you know how difficult it is to be the only honest person in this house? My son is an antisocial man that if it weren't for my teachings, would have become a simp to some successful streamer. Woman, why do you know these useless things? I thought as I placed the boxes in the room. Oh, Violet looks at me and I turn away, ignoring her. After all, there are some truths to my mom's words. I wouldn't become a simp because I didn't have money, and I wasn't foolish enough to believe that if I gave these streamers some money, I could get in their pants. Besides, I didn't even have time to think about it, because I was worried about my health and, in the past, I looked like a thin undead. I doubt any woman would be interested in me. And my husband, well, he's my husband. She spoke in a flat tone. It was like she didn't have much to say about my father. Well, in general, my father is a good father. He never missed anything at home and he was always there when we needed him. Hey, woman, don't dirty my image in front of my daughter-in-law, my father yelled. My mom just sticks her tongue out to my dad. Suddenly, I smell the sewer stink again. Those agents must have returned. Honestly, I didn't have a problem with these agents. They were just doing their job. But, for some reason, they stank like a sewer and that annoyed me. I'm just annoyed by the fact that I was having a good, normal conversation with my family and suddenly someone seems to have opened the sewer in the middle of our house. It was just an irritating feeling. Honey, should we get your things? I spoke out loud when I noticed Violet was starting to show her gentle face. I didn't want her to show this face to my parents. Although I think it's adorable, I don't know if my parents would like it. And that was a gamble I didn't want to make, and I'm self-conscious enough to realize that her face is scary for normal people even though that expression is so adorable. Hearing my voice, Violet controls her expression and smiles gently. You're right, darling. My mom makes a sad expression. But we were having fun. She spoke while pouting. Don't worry, mother. She paused and spoke the last word with a hard face. She clearly wasn't used to saying that word. Soon that expression fades into a kind face. I live near here, and I just need to get some more clothes. I see. Well, take care and come back soon. She spoke with a gentle smile. I'll be right back, mother, Violet said. She looked like she could say the last word a little easier now. She walked towards the door. I'll be right back, Mr. Leon, Violet said in a polite tone. Just call me Leon, my dad said. Violet nods her head smiling. I look at my dad and say, I'll be right back, Dad. My dad nodded and said, take care of yourself out there, son. I nod my head indicating that I understand and then walk to the door. Violet holds my arm like a good wife, and we walk out of the house. When the door to the house closed, Victor and Violet suddenly disappeared.